You know how sometimes you just feel completely swamped by all the health advice out there?
Oh, absolutely. It's everywhere.
Especially, like, when it comes to liver health, weight loss.
Yeah.
It's a lot to sift through.
It really is. Trying to figure out what actually makes a difference,
Yeah.
that can feel overwhelming.
Right. So that's what this deep dive is all about. We've gone through this detailed video transcript from Dr. William Lai, focusing specifically on drinks. Drinks that might actually help, clear fat from your liver and speed up fat loss overall.
Exactly.
So our mission today is pretty straightforward. Pull out the key stuff, the surprising bits that are relevant to you, make it clear, understandable, and, well, useful.
Yeah, actionable. We want to cut through the noise.
Think of us as your information filter for this topic.
A well-informed filter, hopefully.
Yeah.
We're here to guide you through Dr. Lay's points and explain why they matter.
Okay, so let's kick off with the liver itself. Such a vital organ, isn't it?
Absolutely crucial. It's huge. One of the biggest organs. And its main job, or one of them, is detoxification. Filtering your blood constantly.
Right, getting rid of the bad stuff. But it also stores fat. That part's interesting.
It does. You can sort of picture it like a reserve fuel tank.
Yeah.
When you take in more energy, more fat than your body needs right away. Some get stored in the liver for later. A little bit is totally normal, by the way.
Okay.
But the problems start when that tank gets, well, overloaded. And that's linked directly to overall body fat.
Oh, so?
Well, when you eat, your body uses some energy, stores some, and the extra goes into fat cells, adipocytes. These things can expand, like, a lot, up to 3 times their size.
Wow, 3 times like little balloons.
Pretty much. But they have a limit. If you keep eating more than you burn, those cells get full. Your body might even make more fat cells.
Like building an extension when the house is full.
Exactly. And when even that's not enough, when you're constantly putting more fuel in than you're using, think of Dr. Lee's kitchen sink analogy.
The inflow and outflow.
Yeah, if the inflow, eating, is way more than the outflow, burning energy, the sink overflows
And the overflow. Where does it go?
into the bloodstream. And that's where the liver steps in again. It tries to manage this extra fat floating around.
Ah, so it's trying to clean up the spill.
Right, but the liver itself can get overwhelmed. It becomes like a second, smaller sink that also starts filling up with fat.
And that's fatty liver disease.
That's the pathway to it, yes. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, or NAFLD.
And the stats on this are pretty concerning, aren't they?
They really are. Fatty liver from overconsumption, not alcohol, is now the #1 reason for liver transplants.
Wow, number 1, more than alcohol-related causes.
Yep, it's a major shift. And we're seeing it in younger people too, which is worrying.
So what happens if your liver gets too fatty? What are the consequences?
Well, initially it might just be fatigue, feeling sort of run down, maybe some discomfort upper right side of your abdomen as the liver gets inflamed. But if it progresses, it can get serious. Impaired detoxification, so toxins build up, problems making proteins for blood clotting, fluid buildup of sites in the belly, edema in the legs, skin changes too, like spider angiomas, jaundice, and ultimately, liver failure is possible.
That sounds pretty grim. But you mentioned the liver can bounce back.
Absolutely. That's the hopeful part. The liver's incredibly resilient. It can regenerate.
Regenerate, like grow back.
Yeah. Dr. Lay points out that even if a big chunk is damaged or removed, it can regrow. So if you can lighten the load, reduce that excess fat,
It can recover.
it has a very good chance to recover. Yes. So that's our focus.
Yeah.
Drinks that the source material suggests might help burn fat and give the liver a chance to heal.
All right, let's dive into the first one. Green tea comes up a lot in health talks.
It does, and for good reason it seems. The key player is a polyphenol called EGCG, epigallocatechin 3-gallate if you want the full name.
EGCG.
Got it.
And what does EGCG do?
Well, what's really interesting is its effect on brown fat.
Brown fat. I thought fat was the enemy here.
Not all fat. Brown fat is actually considered good fat.
Yeah.
It's different from the white fat that stores energy.
Okay.
You have small amounts of it around your neck, upper chest, between the shoulder blades, some in the belly too. Its main job is thermogenesis.
Thermogenesis. Creating heat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It burns energy to generate heat.
So how does green tea, the EGCG, connect to this brown fat?
EGCG seems to activate it. I think of Dr. Lai's analogy. Brown fat is like a gas burner.
Right.
EGCG flips the switch, click, 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 whoosh. The burner ignites and starts using fuel.
Empty fuel is...
Excess body fat, especially that visceral fat, the deep stuff around your organs. The brown fat essentially grabs energy from the white fat stores to make heat.
So turning on these brown fat burners helps burn the unwanted white fat. That's clever.
It is, and the idea is that regularly drinking something like green tea might gently nudge your metabolism to burn a bit more energy throughout the day by keeping this brown fat active.
Okay, that makes sense. Is there, like, actual proof this works? Studies?
Yes, the source highlights a couple. One was in Iran with 70 women who had metabolic syndrome.
Okay.
They drank about 7 ounces of green tea 3 times a day for 8 weeks. On average, they lost 2 pounds and nearly an inch off their waist. Remember, waist size is a decent proxy for visceral fat.
An inch off the waist? That's noticeable.
And they saw improvements in blood pressure, blood sugar, lipids too.
Okay, that's encouraging. Was there another one?
Yep, Tehran University, 63 overweight adults with type 2 diabetes. They drank 4 cups of green tea daily for 2 months.
4 cups. And the result?
Average loss of 3 pounds and almost 2 inches off the waist.
Wow, nearly 2 inches. So while these weren't specifically fatty liver studies, they show green tea can help with overall fat loss, which should help the liver. Right?
Exactly. It supports the idea that reducing overall body fat, particularly visceral fat, is beneficial. And maybe swapping out other drinks for green tea is a sustainable way to help.
Is it just standard green tea, or do other types work too?
Good question. The source mentions others, matcha for instance. Since it's the whole leaf ground up, you get even more EGCG plus fiber.
Ah, okay.
Oolong tea, which is partly oxidized, still has EGCG. Pu'er tea, that's fermented, has also been linked to waistline reduction and it's probiotic.
Fermented tea. Interesting.
And even standard black teas, like English breakfast or Earl Grey, get a mention as being beneficial too.
So quite a few options. Any tips on how to drink them for the best effect?
Yes, a key pro tip. Drink it straight. No sugar, obviously.
Right, that defeats the purpose.
And Dr. Lee advises against adding dairy milk. The fat in dairy can apparently bind to the polyphenols like EGCG and block their absorption.
Oh, really? Didn't know that.
Yeah.
What about non-dairy?
Nut milks or soy milk are suggested as okay alternatives if you don't like it plain.
Good to know. Okay, so that's tea. What's beverage number 2?
Coffee. Good news for a lot of people.
Definitely good news for me. How does coffee fit in? Same mechanism.
Pretty similar, yes.
Yeah.
Coffee also seems to activate brown fat thermogenesis.
Oh.
The key compound here is chlorogenic acid.
Chlorogenic acid. Right. So it also does the click, click, whoosh thing with brown fat.
It does. Helps burn that excess body fat, including visceral fat.
Yeah.
But there's another interesting angle with chlorogenic acid.
Oh.
The source suggests it might also prompt your body to actually make more brown fat cells.
Really? So
Right.
not just turning on the burners, but installing new ones.
Kinda, yeah. More potential fat burning capacity.
That sounds great. Is there research on coffee and fat loss?
There is. A big study in Indonesia, over 500 people, found coffee drinkers generally had less body fat.
Okay.
And interestingly, this was seen even with decaf coffee.
Decaf too, so it's not just the caffeine buzz doing the work.
Seems like the chlorogenic acid is a major factor, yeah.
Yeah,
Which is good news if you're sensitive to caffeine.
definitely. Any other studies?
Yes, a collaboration involving Harvard, Singapore, and Switzerland. They looked at 26 overweight adults with insulin resistance. The group drinking 4 cups of Robusta coffee daily for 6 months lost, on average, 4.6 pounds of body fat.
Almost 5 pounds of fat. That's significant. What about the control group?
The placebo group actually gained a little weight over that time.
Wow, okay, so coffee seems like a strong contender too. What's next? This one surprised me a bit.
Beverage number 3, tomato juice.
Tomato juice. Okay, tell me about that. What's the magic ingredient?
It's lycopene. That's a carotenoid pigment, gives tomatoes their red color. It's also a potent antioxidant.
Lycopene. I associate that with tomatoes, yeah.
And guess what it does?
Let me guess. Activates brown fat.
You got it. Another one for the brown fat activation list. Same thermogenesis principle.
Amazing how many different compounds do that. What's the evidence for tomato juice?
A study in Portugal had young women eat 1 ripe tomato before lunch each day.
Just one tomato.
Yep. And they saw reductions in body fat and visceral fat, plus better metabolic markers.
From 1 tomato a day? That's pretty cool.
Another study, this one in China, gave 25 normal weight women about 1.2 cups of tomato juice daily for 8 weeks. They lost weight, reduced waist circumference, and lowered levels of an inflammatory marker called MCP1, so less inflammation too.
Interesting. Any advice on choosing tomato juice? Because some can be really salty or sugary.
Absolutely crucial point. You really want pure tomato juice. Check labels carefully for unwanted additives, preservatives, flavorings, colors, added sugar, or salt.
So read the label.
Definitely. Making your own at home is ideal, of course.
Yeah.
Or, the source suggests, using plain tomato sauce could be an alternative way to get that lycopene in.
Okay, makes sense. Moving on to number 4, this one connects back to tomatoes, right? Watermelon juice.
Exactly. It seems surprising, but red flesh watermelon is another source of lycopene.
I honestly had no idea watermelon had lycopene.
Yeah, it's mostly known for hydration, right? And apparently, the original watermelons weren't even red or sweet. They were bred that way.
Huh. History of watermelon. Didn't expect that.
Huh, yeah. But the lycopene is the key here. Research shows that drinking homemade watermelon juice, just blended fresh watermelon for 3 weeks, can actually double the lycopene levels in your blood.
Double it. Wow.
So presumably, you'd get similar potential brown fat benefits as from tomato juice, thanks to the lycopene.
Plus, watermelon is super hydrating.
Definitely. And it has those antioxidant properties from the lycopene.
Yeah.
Dr. Lai even mentions a potential side benefit. Drinking it a couple of hours before sun exposure might offer a little UV protection.
Really? Like internal sunscreen?
Sort of, yeah. An interesting thought.
Any warnings about watermelon juice? Like the store-bought kind?
Same issue as with tomato juice, really. Commercial versions often have tons of added sugar, maybe artificial colors, preservatives, and they're usually in plastic containers.
Right, so homemade is best again.
Definitely the way to go if you can.
And wasn't there an extra credit thing with watermelon?
Ah, yes. Citrulline. Watermelon contains an amino acid called citrulline.
Citrulline, what does that do?
Your body uses it to make nitric oxide.
Nitric oxide. That rings a bell. Good for blood vessels.
Exactly. It helps relax and dilate blood vessels, which can lower blood pressure. It's also involved in blood vessel repair. It signals stem cells to fix damage.
So, potential fat burning from lycopene and cardiovascular benefits from citrulline. Nice combo.
Seems like it, yes.
Okay, we've had tea, coffee, tomato juice, watermelon juice. What's the 5th and final beverage?
Back to basics. Just plain drinking water.
Water, okay, obviously essential. But how does it specifically help with fat loss, according to the source?
Well, beyond basic hydration, which is crucial for everything including liver function, there are 2 main ways highlighted.
Okay.
First, drinking water before a meal. It fills you up, stretches the stomach slightly.
Right.
That sends signals to your brain saying, hey, getting full here. So you might naturally eat less during the meal, fewer calories in.
Simple, but makes sense. What's the second way?
Water-induced thermogenesis. We talked about thermogenesis with brown fat. Well, just drinking cool or cold water triggers a type of thermogenesis too.
Yeah.
Your body has to expend energy to warm that water up to your core temperature.
Ah, so your internal furnace has to work just to heat the water.
Exactly, it's a metabolic cost. A German study found drinking 2 cups of water boosted metabolism by about 30% for a while afterward.
30%? That's quite a jump.
It is. And Dr. Lean does this interesting calculation. If you drank 6 cups of water a day, over a year, just the energy spent warming that water could burn around 17,400 calories.
Whoa, how much fat is that?
Roughly 5 pounds of body fat.
Yeah.
Just from drinking water, your body has to warm up.
That's actually kind of mind-blowing. 5 pounds a year from water.
Potentially, yeah, it adds up. And staying hydrated is extra important if you do have concerns about fatty liver, because it helps the liver do its detox job properly. Keeps things flushed out.
Okay. Now, you mentioned plastic containers before. There was a pretty strong warning about plastic water bottles in the source, wasn't there?
Yes, a very significant caution. Microplastics and even smaller nanoplastics, they leach out of the plastic into the water.
Even from recycled plastic.
Seems so. And the evidence of potential harm is mounting. These particles are being found everywhere: blood, heart tissue, arteries, even testicles.
That's deeply unsettling.
It really is. The source specifically mentions an Italian study linking microplastics found in arterial plaque to a 4 times higher risk of heart attack or stroke.
4 times. Wow. That's serious.
Extremely serious. So the recommendation is clear. Avoid plastic water bottles.
What's the alternative then?
Glass bottles or containers are best. Stainless steel is generally considered good too.
Okay. And don't reuse the plastic ones you might already have.
Right. They degrade over time, especially with washing or heat. Avoid those plastic sports bottles too, particularly if you put them in the dishwasher. That heat can really break down the plastic.
Okay, glass or steel. Got it. What about the old drink 8 glasses a day rule? Or sometimes it's 10 glasses. Is that still the advice?
The source suggests not getting hung up on a specific number. Our needs vary a lot.
Based on what?
Body size, how active you are, the climate you're in, lots of things. The better approach is listening to your body. Pay attention to thirst. That's called interoception.
Interoception, feeling your internal cues.
Exactly. Sip water when you feel thirsty. Keep it handy throughout the day. Don't force down huge amounts if you don't feel you need it.
Makes sense. Listen to your body. Okay, so that's our 5. Green tea, coffee, tomato juice, watermelon juice, and plain water.
And mission accomplished, hopefully. You should now have a much clearer picture, based on Dr. Lee's insights, of how these everyday drinks could potentially support liver health and fat loss.
Yeah, definitely some actionable ideas there, but we need to add the usual very important caveat. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is all for educational purposes. We're distilling information from the source.
If you're genuinely concerned about fatty liver or any health issue, you absolutely need to talk to your doctor or a qualified healthcare professional.
Couldn't agree more. Fatty liver is a medical condition. It needs proper diagnosis and management. This isn't about just trying home remedies.
Right. These drinks are potential parts of a healthy lifestyle, not a magic cure.
Exactly. Part of a bigger picture. And the source video hints at other things too, other foods and lifestyle factors, which maybe we can dive into another time.
For sure. So here's a final thought to leave you with. Isn't it interesting how something as simple as what you choose to drink each day could have a real impact on an organ as vital as your liver and maybe your overall body composition?
It really makes you think about those small daily choices.
What's one small tweak you might consider based on what we've talked about? Definitely some drink for thought there. Thanks for diving deep with us today.